Good evening. This is the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. Today is May 20th, the National Day in Cameroon, and critics in the country are questioning the existence of peace in the country as many majority of Douala residents are indifferent on activities marking the day. And here in the economic capital, Douala, a man is said to have beaten the wife to death. We also talk sports football as the interim coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. It is feared that Jean-Paul Akuno might not be able to take the country or the Lions squad to Ukraine, Togo, and also to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you, viewers, for joining me in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. We begin right away with the National Day celebrations, which took place all over the national territory today. Cameroonians are observing the National Day, the 41st of its kind, and the ceremony here at the UDX Square in the economic capital, Douala, witnessed a massive turnout of political parties, actors of the civil society, civilians, students, as well as the armed forces, and they marched past the ceremonial ground under the watchful eyes of the #1 man of the region, that is the governor, Joseph Betty Asomo. And Babila Jonathan was part of the march past ceremony at the UDX Square here in Douala. Now tells us more in the following report.
The celebration of the 41st National Day at the UDX Square in Douala commenced with the award of medals of honor to some authorities for remarkable services rendered to the nation. Among the recipients were the Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri, Nasiri Paul Bier, the Senior Divisional Officer for Mongo, Ona Toma, and Nenge Malapa, made for the Douala 1 subdivision. The high point of the event began with the military parade. Officers of the National Gendarmerie, the Rapid Intervention Battalion, the Firefighting Brigade, the police, as well as custom officers and former warlords marched past in front of the presiding authority, Governor Joseph Betty Asomo, and other national and international dignitaries. One of the international dignitaries who was the special guest of Governor Joseph Betty Asomo was Dr. Jedini Salamatu, special advisor at the presidency of the Central African Republic. Then came the civilian parade with secondary and high schools and higher institutions of learning. Followed by associations and political parties, including the Social Democratic Front, SDF, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, the Union des Populations du Cameroun, UPC, the Union des Populations du Cameroun, UPK, the Cameroon Democratic Union, CPU, the Alliance of Progressive Forces, APF, among others.
And on the sidelines of the National Day, the civilian and military march past a ceremony which held at the 20th May Boulevard in the central region of the country saw some party militants quarreling for space. Yaoundé-based correspondent Roland Akong tells us in the following report that the event equally paralyzed activities in the central region of the country. His report.
Like every year, Yaoundé Central Town is paralyzed on May 20th. All businesses are closed at the city's trade center. City dwellers cover long distances on foot as circulation of vehicles is restricted.
Equinox Television.
Okay. 111 soldiers from Nigeria are one of the points of attraction of the military march past.
Very happy. We are fine. We enjoyed ourselves. Very happy to see your group.
Invited by President Biya after the collaboration of Nigeria and Cameroonian soldiers for the release of the 7 French hostages abducted by Boko Haram recently. Officials of the SDF and the ANDP parties quarrel over space at the May 20th Boulevard. The confusion over the squares reserved for the parties follows infiltration by some new political parties marching past for their first time.
Aucune tendance.
Coordinators of the UPC party for the march past made us to understand that all the factions of the party came together for the march past. Information we could not verify at press time.
Tout le monde est en place. Toutes les fractions rassemblées. Ça, c'est un signe important de l'unité nationale. C'est qui? Le mouvement citoyen. Le parti de Acropole, c'est Acropole.
Interestingly, some political party supporters with T-shirts could not tell us the names of their leaders. Some did not know the message on the banderole they carried. Primary school kids get to play after waiting for long for the civilian march past to start. There is also business on the sideline of the May 20th event.
Non, le marché là est tellement dur. Ça ne passe pas.
Traders like these ladies selling the Bili Bili, a local drink from the greater north region of Cameroon, are making brisk business.
On boit ça, on est solide.
C'est le défilé, c'est la fête du travail. Les gens qui boivent ça sont les soulards.
But potable water is free for all, and it is supplied by these ladies of the National Water Corporation.
Roland Akon there reporting from Yaoundé Central region of the country. Now, some city dwellers hold that the National Day celebrations has lost its usual effervescence, or the usual effervescence that used to accompany the historic event. They question the presence of unity in Cameroon due to the lukewarm attitude of some inhabitants of the city of Douala. For Hansen Chanji tells us more in the following report.
Moving along some major neighborhoods in Akwa, here in the littoral region, one could hardly see a flag bearing the color green, red, yellow. In fact, flags that were hung in some of these streets could easily be counted from a distance. Activities seem to be moving on smoothly to some people who give little or no value to the celebration of National Day. Gone are those days when 20th May celebration used to be highly animated. People paid visits to friends and families, and some took time to feast. But what could be the major factor for this paradigm shift? Frederick Ebula explains.
Don't have any important, because in our country people are so tired. You see, along all the road, you cannot see any flag. For why? That's the signification of all those things.
To some Cameroonians, National Day celebration should involve all and sundry to reflect on what could push the country forward. On this 20th May, some major neighborhoods in Akwa are dry. Some businesses close, while others seem to move on with their normal activities. To them, 20th May is like any other busy day in Douala.
Now in Buea, southwest region of the country, students of the University of Buea answered present at the Bongo Square, which played host to activities marking the 20th May celebrations in that part of Cameroon. A limited number participated, however, contrary to their threats to boycott the May 20th event, and they had promised not to take part in the event unless their participation fees are increased from 2,500 francs CFA to 3,000 francs CFA. And we hear members of the Students' Union were also absent at the event amid talks of organizational lapses. But the governor of the southwest region of the country, Bernard Okalia Bilai, expressed satisfaction with the turnout of political parties, the civilian students, as well as all the actors involved. And just to add that the 41st edition of the National Day in Cameroon is being commemorated under the theme peacetime army and the nation working towards meeting security challenges for an emerging Cameroon by 2035. Now his search is on. We are here in the economic capital Douala to track down a man who reportedly battered the wife to death at the Foreba area in Bonaberi here in the economic capital Douala. The mother of 5 is said to have died in the hospital where she was receiving treatment. And as Staff Lady Annabella tells us more in the following report, the perpetrator of the act is still on the run.
These women traders at the Mabanda market are expressing their fury as one of theirs has been beaten to death by her husband at their residence here at Foreba in Bonaberi, Douala. We got information that the said man, Tongmu Mako, had the habit of battering his wife almost every day, even in public places like the market. On the fateful day, Mr. Tongmu hit the wife, Kengfak Maxaline, on the head with a very heavy padlock. The latter bled profusely internally and later gave up the ghost at the Alutim hospital. On getting the sad information, the Mabanda petty traders stormed Foreba, denouncing such acute violence on a woman and shouting at the top of their voices for justice to take its course. At press time, Tongmu Mako was nowhere to be found, and the corpse of his wife is lying at the mortuary. The couple have been married for years now and have about 5 children.
Quite a sad story there. Now we talk sports football. Before we go, reports from Yaoundé Central region of the country say the interim head coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, Jean-Paul Akono, is responding to treatment after suffering from a malaise at the weekend. Jean-Paul Akono is said to have been attacked while in his room, and he was reportedly watching a football match on television while lying on his bed and could not get up. Even though responding to treatment, it is feared that he may not be fit to coach the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon in their friendly encounter against Ukraine and the 2 World Cup qualifiers billed for June 2013. Viewers, that does it for this edition of the news on Equinox Television. We thank you so much for your keen attention. But before we go, a recap of our major headlines. Critics are questioning the existence of unity in Cameroon as a majority of Douala residents are indifferent on activities marking the National Day celebration in Cameroon. And also a man here in the economic capital Douala is said to have beaten the wife to death. That was yesterday here in the city of Douala, and it is also feared that Jean-Paul Akono might not be able to take the Lions squad to Ukraine, Togo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. We thank you so much for your keen attention. That does it for this edition. See you tomorrow.